immigrated to Cape Coral, Florida when I was 4. And during our first visit, I guess my grandparents' new neighbors saw my father and they asked, "What is he?" And my grandparents replied, "Mexican, not black." I didn't become proud of being black. It took too long.
"Are you Japanese?" she shouts from behind the deli counter. I'm 23. Brown skin, brown skin. Brown skin, brown skin. Brown skin. Brown skin, brown skin. Two little white brothers chant, "Country boys." I'm visiting Illinois. I'm 6 and I'm stung. I am stung, I am stung, stung. Brown skin, brown skin. What are you? What are you? What are you?
I gotta know.
Brown skin, brown skin. Brown skin, brown skin. What are you? Human. 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 Who are your parents? No, I mean, what are your parents? What are you? 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 Human, human. I am human. I'm human.
Jonny sent me some music, and then I filmed some choreography in Winston-Salem. In my cross-country drive, I just recently moved to Berkeley, California. I created a film window using the music he sent and that choreography.
We pivoted to what we're working on right now after the murder of George Floyd, and when the movement for Black Lives really started, coming to a front all around the country. Both of us, we didn't have a headspace for really anything else after that point.
And this felt really right to shift our course. And so we've been chipping away at this new film. We swapped a bunch of materials after we first met, and we got into Zoom for like 2 hours, right, Jonny? And yeah. We got to know each other, and we also spoke about wanting to be out of our comfort zones and to experiment and push. And something that came up pretty early on was my career has been in dance, but I love to sing, and I use sort of theatrical elements in my choreography. So Jonny's integrating my voice into what we are working on now. So hearing myself singing and speaking in this work has been exciting and also scary for me.
I think both of us wanted to do something that was not our norm and not our comfort zone. And I think we have both done that throughout this entire process. The piece is really personal to Kara's story, and there are a lot of layers to unpack with it. And every layer feels pretty loaded for both of us. With regard to how do you feel and talk and handle issues of race in a way that's both personal and feels like you're also part of this larger moment. There's just a lot. There are a lot of layers to it. Every time you think you've hit another layer, there's another layer underneath it.
Once I got to Berkeley and we had said let's think more about the anti-racist movement and how to speak to it. When you start a creation, you have a lot of times it feels like endless options. And so it's like, where to begin? And one of my mentors said, to me, go with what you know. And I just thought I need to start maybe from a more personal place. And so I'm mixed race. So I sat down and I wrote, and a way I journal is I write poetry. And so I just started with that, and I shared it with Jonny. So the poem is discussing some kind of reflecting on, basically I feel like it's tying into the sickness in our country surrounding denial and silence around systemic racism. And so I had to examine my own family, and I'm both white and Black, and just how that existed in my family as well. So going to a micro level, and so connecting to the bigger thing as Jonny's speaking about through my story. So I'm hopeful that the final piece is not like, this is Kara Wilkes' story, but this is really just, it's going to be hopefully more universal than that, and abstract, and touching on what humans are struggling with, what we all share in fumbling around and just having to work towards change, and how to do it effectively within ourselves and in our communities. So the poem was a jumping off point for me. And so then playing around with singing, I guess for fun and experimentation, and just because I told Jonny I enjoy singing.
And interestingly, like all of the musical material from this came from Kara's vocal improvs to begin with. So I gave her like a single drone to sing over, and she actually gave me back some like very sophisticated melodies based on it. So she's like, I have this drone as an anchor point, but basically like she really messed with the way that her voice interacted with that drone in a very cool way musically. So it gave me a lot of harmonic material to play around with. The piece has a lot, these polar elements. It's got some like classical music and almost choral sounding stuff, and then this like really jarring blues harmonica that pulls it in this other zone. And then these really peaceful meditative bells made out of glass, which I have all of this glassware behind me that I play. Ends up being this sort of Rorschach test of oh, here's this material that's in front of your face, but like you're going to interpret it like an entirely different way than somebody else is going to interpret it.
All my movement has been mostly improv. And what's been uncomfortable for me is that I'm starting to think that it needs to be used in the final product. And I'm going to make phrase work, and I'm going to refine it, and I'm going to make it look so good. And the honesty I see in the improv and what comes up is just it's been shocking for me. And I just feel like I may have to leave a lot of this alone and just show this. And it feels very vulnerable to do that. And not saying I won't have refined movement in there, but it's, I'm kind of, again, going with this uncomfortable feeling and saying I'm going to have to sit back and maybe just this is what is going to be used.
I'd like to speak to something else that Kara has done in both of the pieces that we created, Window and this one, which I think is really smart and really cool, is that she's deliberately showed herself starting and stopping the camera a number of times. And that has been a way to emphasize the aloneness of the situation and the reality of what's happening. Like that nobody else is running the camera, that it's it sort of breaks the fourth wall in a really great way, because it shows that here's this human in this space doing a real thing instead of instead of it being this perfected impression of a human in a space doing a thing. And I feel like that's been a really smart move in both pieces, actually. The process of making Window, actually, Kara, the first piece that we made was, I was really surprised by what you made and totally enjoyed and loved it. And it like engendered like this trust, a working relationship of trust, making that, where I just felt like anything that I hand you, you're going to just follow your instincts to find something good and kind of not let anything stand in the way of that. Even if we have to pull the piece to bits, even if you're like, I'm not feeling this and I want to go this way. But I have a trust in that your guiding principles are going to make something great at the end. And I don't want to say it's unusual for me, but it's unusual for me to let go that much. At this point, I've been sending you elements and just saying pull it apart, and instead of sending you just a full composition that's soup to nuts. I've sent Kara stems and just said pull it apart and collage and create with it, and then we'll make something out of what you make.
The thing about dancing as a video body is that thing about gravity and weight and stuff and like support and touch, that those are not available obviously when you're by yourself. And especially the act of touch is how you learn about what somebody else's body is like what their essential nature is and how they move, right? When you run across and leap and get caught by somebody, you get a connection, and that's the stuff that, you know, can never be simulated in the same way without. But you also, in real space and time, you cannot pass through each other. You cannot become one body in the same way. So there's some other magic that's available. In 1990, 91, and 92, we did a few live performances with the Electronic Cafe where distant sites were combined. As soon as this COVID situation occurred, I remembered that piece and I reached out to Mark and I was like, I know you're working on something. What are you working on? Because he has also written a piece of software called Isadora, which is widely used by artists and other entities. And I just knew he would be thinking about it too. So I reached out to him, and in fact, he had written a special module for Isadora that allowed live video streams to come in using Skype. And then you could blend those video streams, because right now on Zoom, we're all here live together, but we're in our own little box. I can't reach into Bella's box or Jonah's box or anybody's box, right? So I wanted a way to do what we had done in 1992, which was to composite the two live streams together so that you had the sensation that you were in the same dancing space together. Let me flip Jonah again and see if I just like it better. Okay, for this first scene, Jonah, I'm going to keep you flipped and have you go over there. Yeah, we're just going to keep it like it always was.
The very first session where we were actually moving around, it was very hard to move with someone, or at least to move in my own space, but at the same time I had to consider what it looked like on the screen, because there's only like such a limited space here. But then as we rehearsed, I think I got more comfortable in just knowing what the limitations are, like in terms of space, but also just mindset wise, what the switch is, in order to think about like, oh, what do I need to adjust my body to look like in order for the screen to capture what I want it to capture. As I was looking at Dawn's video, and it just felt those two people were very, very present in their own spaces, but then, you know, visually together in the video, they were just together, very present. And what she said was to dance like you would if Bella and I were in the same room. And I think that's what I was trying to achieve towards the end.
I feel like I was initially very resistant, I didn't realize, but resistant to this idea of imagining someone there with me and actually dancing with me. Once we got into the rhythm of it, to sense that energy was really amazing. Like, I think I was a lot more open to, like Jonah said, imagining that there is someone actually there with me and like in the room. Just even also that having to have that other awareness, like you said, with the double presence. Yeah, it was such a journey, but one that really only grew as we continued to meet and talk and just try different things.
I have always been interested in liveness. And what we did was a live performance. It happened one time, and that was the recording of that one time that one happened. And even though so much of my personal work has engaged video, the concept of liveness is always present. And not only liveness, but then, as I said earlier on, this notion of error, which is really about improvisation. With the addition of Max, was just another set of liveness, another set of live cues to be in conversation with.
Each time that we went through it, I was really going off of the visual cues. I was watching the whole dance in real time and sort of responding as best I could musically to what I was seeing, trying to emphasize those visual distortion moments and the colorization and kind of the quieter moments, and then the more active and louder moments. I think by the third time we were falling into a more set way of doing things, so that's when Dawn wanted us to kind of stop it there in terms of our recordings of the piece, so that we didn't get too set in our ways of what the final product would be, which I liked that sentiment. It kept the entire piece very live for me, especially since having such a short time with it, going off of my initial impulses and instincts, kind of trusting those and seeing what came out of it. So it was cool to see what happened in that scenario. Also kind of an interesting thing that happened was because of the delay with Skype and the internet, how I was responding and the timing of those responses to what I was seeing lined up in a different way when the music and the visuals were actually synced up to each other. So that was kind of an added chance element to the piece, which I liked.
I am a lover of music through and through, and I know Jonah is as well. And so I feel like it also helped me, I guess, connect more to the ideas that we initially talked about with the effects, especially the scene where it's all kind of pixelated and exploding. Dawn kept on directing us to just forget about gravity. It's like it's completely gone. You're just falling, and connecting to that with music too, even if it wasn't maybe exactly aligning, but it was nice to be able to get that inspiration from there as well, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's just a lot more things to play with, like on top of like knowing how to play with the space, and then Dawn's instructions, and then we also had like Max's music cues, and all of those things combined turned into like a well-rounded like playground per se. Because I think in the beginning it was kind of just like, I was very focused on the task at hand, and I wasn't really thinking about like playing as much. I was kind of just like, okay, do this task at this section and think about this at this section, But then when the music came in, it was kind of just like, okay, I can go off a little bit and then come back when it's time. But then at the same time, I was enjoying myself in the process of like play. Yeah. And especially because Max was doing everything live, it also gave that like excitement that, oh, I didn't know what was coming. So I kind of just had to play in order to get whatever it was that kind of like Max was mashing up with our stuff. Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Dawn started this process out with repeating that this is an exploration and we are experimenting with these same ideas that she was experimenting with in 1992. They are limitless, truly. And instead of looking at it from this idea of we are putting limitations on ourselves by being in a digital space, it actually, it really does open up a whole world of things that would have been impossible otherwise. And that positive switch was so clear in the rehearsal process for me, I think, too. Accepting technology for what it is. It's something that I've definitely been inspired to explore more now after this process.
And I think since we don't know when this situation with the world right now is going to last, I think part of me kind of gave up on trying to exist or trying to be present online. But I think after this whole process, it was kind of like Bella said, like there's so much to do on here that we still have not explored and we have not tried. And I think going into like another year of school or another semester of school online, it's like, how do I be more present and how can I contribute from halfway across the world digitally, but also still contributing to like the whole environment and the whole movement that's happening in front of the screens. And I think that's like the next step for me as an artist to take on a different playground that is in this digital world. Yeah.